Yo, what's good, yo? I'm JB Hoops, and today I'm breaking down the game of the freshman combo guard out of Kentucky and potential lottery pick in this year's draft, Tyty Washington, and let's get into his stats. This year at Kentucky, Tyty got off to a hot start. Over his first 19 games before his injury, he was averaging 13.6 points, shooting over 50% from the field and almost 40% from deep. But as he came back for the rest of the season, he just wasn't himself. His shooting splits specifically dropped a lot, so that's why the numbers you see on the screen right now aren't really spectacular. But he still had an amazing freshman season and definitely has a chance of being a lottery pick in this year's draft. So let's get into breaking down his game. One of Tyty's biggest strengths to his game is his shot creation ability and pull-up scoring specifically. Tyty is an elite pull-up scorer. The majority of Tyty's buckets came in the mid-range and also the in-between. He has beautiful form on his pull-up and he's excellent at getting into it, changing paces and getting on balance to get his shot off. His pull-up scoring ability and ability to hit the floater makes him so difficult to defend in the pick and roll, which then only opens up so much more for his passing as well. If teams play tight on him and run him off the line, he's excellent at quickly attacking and raising up into his pull-up. Tyty's also pretty good at creating space off the catch. He has a pretty deep bag of moves, and he's also pretty crafty when it comes to his use of footwork and pump fakes to create space. The only real part of shot creation Tyty struggles with is creating separation in ISO scenarios. He just lacks the first step and burst to create space and get by good defenders. But he's very solid as an off-ball mover, and that's how he gets a lot of his points, coming off screens, moving without the ball, relocating, and then attacking off the catch. But Tyty's also flashed at times with the ability to create for himself, and I think his mid-range pull-up will be devastating in the league. And the skill of hitting the mid-range pull-up is not a skill everybody has, and it's an area of offense Tyty excels in. Next up, I want to go into his shooting. Tyty Washington mostly played off the ball at Kentucky because they were mostly putting the ball in Xavier Wheeler's hands. But Tyty showcased his ability to play on and off the ball, and his excellent spot-up shooting is the main reason for that. Tyty has a smooth stroke with an extremely quick release. He's a great shooter off the catch. He shot around 40% from deep for most of the season. However, after his injury in late January, he shot about 29% from deep, so his overall percentage did drop towards the end of the season. But I think his first 19 games are more of an indication of how good he is as a shooter. Tyty Washington is extremely effective off the ball. He navigates the floor extremely well. He seeps into passing windows and runs himself open on the perimeter. I really like him as a shooter in transition. He just always seems to get to the right spot for the passer, and he has a rapid fire release to always get it off, and I think that will definitely translate to the NBA. The only criticism I have of his shooting is his release point on his shot is a little bit low, but his jump shot is just so quick that I don't think it will really be an issue. But you obviously would like it to be slightly higher. But I'm pretty confident in Tyty being an excellent shooter nonetheless. Now onto another major strength of Tyty Washington, which is his playmaking. Tyty has great vision and is a very high IQ playmaker. He has a very good assist to turnover ratio, I think it's about 2.4 to 1. And generally you just trust him a lot with the ball in his hands. He's a very accurate passer. Because this year at Kentucky he was placed in a more off-ball role, he definitely didn't get to showcase his full playmaking abilities, but he was very impactful in his secondary playmaker role. I think his pull-up scoring ability definitely helps him here, and it just opens up so much for him as a passer. Tyty's ability to hit the pull-up just forces defenses to collapse, and he's shown that he's excellent at making quick reads and finding the right guys the defense collapses on him. Tyty is also great at passing in transition and finding guys who run the break hard. I think this will also translate to the NBA with more rim running bigs and better NBA centers. He also didn't really have a pick and pop partner or a real lob threat, which I think he will get in the NBA and only be more scary in the pick and roll. Tyty didn't get a huge amount of pick and roll reps at Kentucky, but when he did, he looked comfortable and controlled. He's very good at forcing help defense and finding the open man. He's also a very good pocket passer, as you can see with Oscar Tshiebwe. They formed a very tough duo, and with a more athletic and NBA quality big, I can only imagine it'd be even better. In the pick and roll reps he got with Damian Collins, he displayed his ability to throw lobs with pinpoint accuracy and pass his big open. And I just think Tyty's playmaking is extremely underrated. He's a very good and accurate passer with excellent vision, and I think he'll definitely be capable of running an NBA offense. Now onto the final part of his offensive game, I want to talk a bit about his finishing. Whilst Tyty isn't the best at attacking the basket and getting to the rim, he did shoot an insane 57% on floaters, which just perfectly counteracts his struggles getting to and finishing at the cup. He can quickly get into his floater off 1 foot or 2, It's a really nice tool for him in the pick and roll, and I think he'll get to use it a lot more with a real lob threat in the NBA. And what impressed me the most is his ability to convert through contact, especially with his floater. Tyty is a lot stronger than he looks. He can bump into guys, take contact and get open, and I think it will be a real strong point of his in the NBA. However, there are definitely some concerns with his finishing. Tyty Washington barely gets to the rim at all. He had more attempts in the mid-range and in between than he did at the rim and the three-point line, which is a little bit concerning because the rim and three-point line is the main ways of scoring in the league, but it just kind of sets him apart. Tyty also isn't the quickest or shiftiest guy, so he doesn't really attack the basket in one-on-one situations. And most of the time he does get to the basket, it is off using his shooting gravity to force a defender to overplay him, because he is very good at attacking off the catch. Tyty is definitely held back by his athleticism with his finishing. He doesn't have the hang time to adjust his shot mid-air and finish through and around bodies, so sometimes he just gets caught in the air finishing at the bucket. And I think his finishing definitely could prove to be an issue in the league, but with his excellent pull-up game and in-between game, I think he'll be fine, but it's something he'll definitely need to look to improve. We've talked a lot about his offensive game, now onto his defense. Defense is definitely not a strength of Tyty's, but I think he should be able to hold up guarding both guard positions whilst not being exploited on the defensive end. He has a 6'9" wingspan, which definitely helps him, and he's pretty strong for his size, and when he is locked in, which he usually is, he competes well, stays in front of ball handlers, fights around screens, gets good contests on shots and effectively closes out on shooters. And also off the ball, he's pretty good at reading and anticipating offensive plays. He doesn't gamble on defense too much, but he does pick up 1.3 steals a game, so that's pretty promising. So I'm pretty confident in Tyty being at least a neutral defender, and shouldn't hurt the team when he's on the court on that end. Although defensively, Tyty is definitely held back by his lack of athleticism, which sometimes shows up in his struggles to stay in front of quicker and shiftier players. He can also have lapses defensively, standing too upright, and getting taken out of the play by screeners, often more noticeable off the ball. And then there's also just a few times where he's been late to close out or rotate. But for the most part, I think Tyty is a passable defender. He shouldn't get attacked too much and hunted on defense. And by his third or fourth year in the league, he'll probably be at worst a neutral defender. As for a draft projection, I think Tyty Washington definitely has a chance of being a lottery pick. I've kind of lowered him a little from earlier on in the season because I do have some question marks with his finishing and defense like I've just said, as well as some self-creation question marks, but I still think he's firmly in the top 20 and will probably be taken towards the later end of the lottery, if not mid-first round. And as for a comparison for him, I think he's a little bit like CJ McCollum, but a better passer and slightly better defender. Obviously probably doesn't have the scoring upside and self-creation ability of CJ, but more so in the way they can play on or off the ball and have excellent mid-range pull-ups. Alright, so that's all I got for this one. My mock draft 2.0 will come the day of the lottery, so stay tuned for that. I think that will be probably 2 or 3 days after this gets uploaded. Leave a like, subscribe for more, turn noties on, comment down below what you think. JB Hoops, out.